Paula, this is a disturbing story. We heard from Brian Hainline, Dr. Brian Hainline, who is the chief medical officer for the NCAA, in your piece, saying there are fewer than 10 active investigations going on right now. He wouldn't name the schools. But what is your sense of how much behavior like this is going on the part of schools around the country?
Well, Jeremy, that's really hard to say. I think one thing you can look at is in the story we talk about the survey of the college athletic trainers, and a third, 36% of them say that, in their experience, a coach has influenced a hiring and firing decision. I wouldn't say, in talking to Dr. Hainline and talking to others, I wouldn't say it's the majority of schools, but I would say that they are concerned.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, they are concerned with the level that's happening. I think one time where you really need to look at it is when you have a coaching change. That seems to be when I was starting off on this and people were directing me to cases that they thought were problematic. They said, look at where you've got these big coaching changes, and this is where you're seeing some of this that they're saying is improper.
In your digital story, which is available now online, you did speak to a player who talked about this issue, about coaches having input where they shouldn't on health issues.
Well, yeah, I spoke to former Tennessee linebacker Darrin Kirkland, and he was at Tennessee during the coaching change from Butch Jones to Jeremy Pruitt. Now, he's very clear in that he doesn't blame the coaches for what happened to him, but he was recovering from a knee surgery in the fall of 2017, and then the coaching change happened, and he says he felt like he got pushed up to a level of activity he was not comfortable with in the spring of 2018, and he re-injured his knee. And all of this cumulative effect of this, he believes, is why he's not playing football anymore. He retired and did not, try to pursue a professional career. And his timing of his injury and his recovery, and when he says he felt like he was pushed out there, also coincides with interviews that we did with former Tennessee sports medicine athletic trainers and other people on that staff who said, this was a time when the sports medicine personnel were being pressured. There was a change in staff that they said was the result of Coach Pruitt. Now, Tennessee administrators say they didn't do anything wrong, that they run the program correctly.
Well, here's the thing, Paul. I guess the big overarching question is there's a rule now. The trainers, the doctors are not supposed to be reporting up through the athletic administration, and they should not be under the coaches in any kind of a flow chart. But it's not really what's happening. Why is it still happening if it's against the rules?
Well, you got two things going on, Jeremy. You've got that this is a practice that has been going on for a long time. You've got a lot of coaches who just feel that this is appropriate. You've got athletic directors who are letting this happen, and then just because this has been kind of the status quo, even though the NCAA and the National Athletic Trainers Association have tried to communicate that this is not appropriate anymore. And then the other thing is, what do you think of when you think of NCAA violations?
You think about payments to players under the table rather than this kind of stuff.
Right. There's an enforcement mechanism set to deal with those issues of eligibility and proper recruiting. The problem with something like this, a health and safety issue, is that they don't necessarily have an enforcement mechanism yet. And so that's one thing Dr. Hainline and others met with the membership, the athletic training community. They're working on a path to enforcement. And so now it's like we've got these rules. How do we enforce them? How do we put some teeth into them? And so that's kind of the next step.
Yeah, you would think they would get around to that shortly.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.